Can we talk? My question for you today is, do you really want this? Do you really want what God has for you? Do you really want God to move in your life in a way that you cannot get the credit? Oftentimes we want God to move and we say, God, I want you to do the thing that I pray for. But what happens when He hears your prayers and He hears your cry on doing the things that your heart desires? But what happens when He has to deal with the things that you have to deal with first before He gives you what you desire? I can be honest and say that I've been that place, I've been that person to say, God, I want you to do this. I know you're going to do this, but then I need you to do this. But He's looking and saying, I have to deal with you. I have to deal with your personality. I have to deal with your heart. My Bible tells me, create in me a clean heart and renew in me a right spirit. Some of us are asking God for new things in life and our spirit is not right. Some of us are asking God to change situations, change environments, change the job, change the relationship, change how I do things. But now He wants to deal with you. I'm talking about He wants to deal with you, the person that's behind the closed doors, not in a church setting, not around your friends, but how can I do what I need to do in your life if you don't come to me humbly and give me your heart? Yes, God wants to give us our desires of our hearts, and some of us do get the things that God doesn't even want us to have. But what happens when He doesn't give you anything and He wants to deal with you? I'm talking to myself. There's been years of years, when I say years and years, of saying I love God and saying I want to be made like Him, say I want to be used by Him. God, I want to flow in your spirit. But I did not give Him my heart like I needed to, because I realized the heart is where the issues of life flow. And so I had to get to a place and humble myself. Much is given, much is required. And so that helped me understand that even in the process of wanting more of God, there's some chiseling away, there's some cutting away that He has to do. I'm gonna be honest. At times I didn't want to give up the porn and give up the masturbation and give up the lying, the cheating, the stealing. But I knew God had a purpose for me. I knew He had a plan for me. I didn't want to give up the homosexuality because it was so second nature. And deep down I had to come into terms with it and help myself know that, you really don't want to get rid of it. You just want God to give you something. Habashata. And so I understand that in this season, God is trying to search for and find the very ones that want God despite of their wrongs, despite of what they've encountered, despite of if it makes them look weird or they have the fear that they want God just because they want Him, because they realize that with God, all things are possible. And with God, He'll change my life for the better. Some of us saying we want God, but we don't want to change. Some of us say we want the presence of God, but we don't want to live in the presence of God. Some of us say we want the full reign of how God operates and how He moves and how He opens doors and how He gets us to a place of promotion, but we don't have a heart to do what we need to do. So I challenge you on today. Ask yourself, do you really want God? Do you really want God? We're living in a world where people are flaky and people don't know what the real reason of life is, and the real answer of God. Life is God. Some of us say we want the newness of what God has for us and wants to give us, but we don't want to do what we need to do to get what we want. But the thing is, God will deal with your heart before He'll deal with your situation. He will deal with your heart before He deals with your environment. He'll deal with your heart and how you think and how you perceive before He gives you the things that you want. This life ain't easy, but with God, all things are possible. Yes, you might woke up on today on the wrong side of the bed. Yes, somebody might put a word curse on you, but you got to stand and believe what God has for you. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. I shall be what He called me to be. But I can't attain that if I'm not willing to sacrifice nothing. See, the reason why we don't want to sacrifice nothing because we're too comfortable. And even in being comfortable, you have to understand God is nowhere to be found in your comfortableness. But I challenge you today, change your thinking, change your heart posture, give it all to God. Yeah, we say one thing out of our mouths, but our actions are far from Him. I did that for years, lying for years, putting on for years. Now He wants to deal with the real you. See, God wants to bless the real you, not the fake you, the real you, not the one that you try to perceive others for you to be. Some of us don't want to cut off the things that we need to. Some of us want to look like the world. Some of us want to talk like the world. Some of us just want to be like the world. But then when you say you want God, you have to live for God and have a covenant with Him as in a marriage and deny all those things you used to do. See, when you're married, so therefore you're not single no more. So there's another life to live. With your relationship with God, you made a commitment. You have a new life to live. So what are you doing that's not parallel to the new life that you're living? I would say this. It's your heart. So allow God to deal with your heart and deal with your mind. And then deliverance and healing can take place. Y'all be blessed. It's your brother, Terrell Ezra.